Of our WWE 2022 Saving TEW 2020. This is our state of WWE for February 2022, which is kind of weird to say because like it's 2023 now, and had we kind of stayed the course, I still think we'd be in 2022 in our save. But obviously, taking a break for a couple months kind of put us back a little bit. But we're at least to February now in 2022. We'll see if we can catch up to 2023 maybe by the end of the year to get to that. But of course, we're coming off of the Royal Rumble. Hope you enjoyed the two-part Rumble. I know it was very lengthy. Some of you may not have enjoyed that for being as long as it was. I think part one was 57 minutes. The second one was like an hour. So a lengthy show, but again, that will be, I mean, that's only going to be for the Rumble and perhaps for WrestleMania. Those are the only two shows all year that'll reach that kind of, recording time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the detail in that as we did go through the Rumble matches and kind of have some fun with that and tie in a lot of fun stuff. So now the road to WrestleMania is officially on because we are in February, and that means we do have to do our state of WWE for the month. So let's look at some of the stuff that we do have going on here. As you can see, I mean, 99 prestige. It doesn't get much better than that, right? All the momentum, 85 here. We have no shortage of money. Made $7.3 million last month, so we're still racking in the dough here. Size-wise, if we look at where we are, you can see, I mean, look, we're pretty much 80 across the board. We are to the large now, as we know. To get to Titanic, we need to be able to achieve 77 in every region, 5 game areas total. So that's going to take a little while, but certainly we continue to kind of move up in all these areas, USA, Canada, Mexico. We're getting there. We're on the road to Titanic here. We got to get a little more reach in Japan, I think. But I mean, you can even see, yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on in terms of our coverage, as you can tell. We're pretty much everywhere. I mean, India, yeah. So we're actually not that far away, perhaps when you think about it, to getting to the Titanic size. So, hey, we'll take that for sure. All right, let's look at some of the other stuff here, and let's jump into kind of where things stand. I guess we can stay in here, can't we? Usually I try to hide some stuff from the assistant because there will be some stuff in there that I probably don't want you to see just yet. But nonetheless, I think we're okay because we don't really need to look at anything else there. All right, so we see our size there. As we said, we've kind of grown pretty quickly. Everything else, kind of where things are at with the company. We always look at the creative. You can see the roster here. Of course, now you kind of know Brock's back in the fold. Of course, The Rock is not. But Rhea Ripley's still on the next big things category. Look at the hot prospects. Kind of your usual group here. And that have been there for a while. In terms of momentum, Big E is now catapulted to number one, despite, as we know, what happened to him in the Royal Rumble. And you can kind of see everyone else here. Bryan, of course, had a very successful Royal Rumble event, as we know there as well. So he moves up to number 2. Rollins is still there. McIntyre and Priest has also jumped into this category of having, all this positive momentum. As for who's not, well, continues to be The Miz, who's been there in our entire save at this point. But Christian and Adam Cole also still continue to be there, and that's just one of those that, who knows, right? Because I can't explain it, why they're having no momentum, but Adam Cole has been involved in a very successful faction, as we know, and Christian also kind of been involved in a successful fashion, although Christian has lost some matches, more so than Adam Cole, but still, that's kind of where those guys are at on that. So that's a look at the creative section. You look at our storylines, kind of where everything is at on these. We'll just kind of go down through some of these. Certainly, we have to continue to meet that 70 demand for 5 storylines. We're doing that. We got to get rid of this Gable one. We're going to have to catapult that into something else. I think we just kind of already moved that into something else, but as you could tell at the Rumble, we do have something a little bit more in mind now for Chad Gable, given the triumphant return of his former tag team partner. So we'll kind of scroll through these, but again, Reigns' storyline continues to be the top one, 96 heat overall. We'll be cleaning up these storylines now after the Rumble. A lot of these were kind of leading to the Rumble, as we know, but we'll start to clean some of these up because you can tell a lot of ones in the 70s, but the one that reigns above the rest, pun intended, is the one with Roman Reigns. So that is kind of where that is at there. What else do we need to look at? I guess we need to look a little bit at what's going on in some of the other promotions. Then, as usual, we'll get to the popularity ratings and all of that. I mean, state of our titles, I guess we could look at that. I mean, look, the Royal Rumble winner, as we know, AJ Styles prevails in the men's Royal Rumble. The women's Rumble, Sasha Banks gets the victory. And then, of course, our WWE Championship has changed now for the first time since August, where Daniel Bryan, our new WWE Champion, and hopefully, again, you've all watched the Rumble, because if you haven't, all this is getting spoiled for you right now. Our Intercontinental Champion continues to be Keith Lee. Usually we track the prestige here, but I don't really think a lot of this has changed for our titles, looking at some of these. This may have changed a little bit. I could be wrong on that. Okay, so it continues to be at a 67. It's gone down a little bit, but as we know, it's because Bayley didn't really defend it all that much. Bianca, still at a 65. That's probably about the same. Tag team titles, they're kind of in that same range. U.S. champion, Sami Zayn. So this continues to go up. And we know, right, because Kevin Owens did the Open Challenge for so many months that it just really brought up the prestige of the United States title, and it's continued kind of that trajectory now into a 68. So Universal Champion, still Roman Reigns. It's pretty much stayed the same throughout the whole save. And then there's the women's tag titles at 35. But again, you saw what happened in the women's Rumble, how many sort of teams we started to sort of put together, and I think that's going to do good things for the women's tag team division here moving forward. So that's where we're at there. If we look at, we don't really need to look at the battles, I guess. We can look at there's not a whole lot that's changed. I mean, from month to month with like AEW or New Japan, we did see New Japan kind of rise to the big category, so that is something that I think that's happened over the past month. So that is of some significance, but really there's nothing that's changed with AEW. New Japan, I guess we can always check NXT because we know who's ruling NXT right now, don't we? Because I can guarantee you when we click on these titles, we know who the NXT champion still is. None other than Triple H. He's still the champion of NXT. And, boy, speaking of Triple H, we got to do this while we're right here, right? Match history. Anybody want to guess if Triple H has lost a match yet? Yeah, I think we know the answer to that. He's now 22-0-0. So Triple H continues to do his thing. Last teamed up with Walter, who, sorry, Triple H, he's on my roster now, so you can't beat him or pitch your wagon to him for some popularity. He's on SmackDown, so you're gonna have to do it on your own, pal. Anyways, NXT Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar, he's still the champ there. North American Champion Timothy Thatcher. Last time he defended it was months ago, so that's good to see. Nonetheless, tag team champion still Burch and Lorcan. Now the women's champion is Candice LeRae. Now, as we saw, she made an appearance in the Women's Royal Rumble. I will tell you right away, like she's not going to be an immediate, call up to the main roster just yet. Because why? Because she's the NXT Women's Champion. You kind of saw what we did with Raquel, right? So that's just worth noting there. Women's Tag Team Champion still Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. So NXT, not really a whole lot happening other than the fact that Triple H is in charge of everything. So that's pretty much what it comes down to. So, there's not a whole lot happening here. And look, that's kind of the thing you get to, right, when you play with WWE and you're having success. It's like, there's nothing, you don't have to really worry about competition. So it's just kind of having fun with the storylines and all that stuff. So that is that. Financially, as we said, we're doing just fine. I mean, we've got $151 million. We can buy whoever we want, and we're just in fine shape. So let's see if there's anything else that is of significance, because I feel like we've kind of reached that point with these state ofs where it's really the only thing that's exciting is just looking at the popularity jumps for wrestlers. I don't really think there's a lot of other things that change because we are at the top, right? Event schedule, I guess, if you want a little hype here. Our February pay-per-view is No Way Out, which will be a SmackDown branded show. So that is going to be of significance, of course, as that will be the last stop before we get to WrestleMania. As you can see here, I do have WrestleMania listed Sunday, week 4 in March. Legendary event, season finale. But here's what I need from you guys. For those of you who have made WrestleMania a 2-night event, I'm going to have to do that. There's too many matches I have lined up. I cannot get all these on one show. So I think we're going to make this a 2-night event unless I turn off, as I know it was mentioned in the comments, unless we turn off the crowd burned out thing. Because if we do that, then we can put everything on one show. Otherwise, we're going to have to do it in 2 because there's no way I can get all my matches in that I have currently penciled in for WrestleMania in the whatever 215 minutes that's allotted before you get the crowd burnout note. So I could just turn it off for WrestleMania actually to make it easier, but I would actually think I prefer doing a 2-night event. So what do I do? Like, do I just set up another WrestleMania? Do I clone it? Is the importance going to be legendary? What am I going to do having it like back to back? Obviously there's going to be stars that aren't on the first one that maybe are on the second one. A lot of dynamics that I probably need to think through, but you guys can probably help me with that as I start to put that together, because I'd like to go ahead and get that figured out pretty soon. But again, we do have to get to No Way Out first. That's a SmackDown branded show. We got a pretty big show planned for No Way Out, as you'll see here on the road to WrestleMania. So, all right, let's jump into the roster itself, and we'll look at some popularity ratings. All right, so here's Raw. We're gonna do what we usually do. We're gonna split this by brand. I don't think I have any people on these brands that are spoilers or eventually going to debut, but if I do, then oh well. Adam Cole here at about a 68, 70-ish. We kind of look at the popularity there for Cole to see how his progress is going. He continues to make a huge jump. Remember, we brought him up from NXT, was not that popular, so he's going in the right direction. Being aligned with the Bullet Club, aha, it's AJ Styles, the winner of our Rumble match. How much popularity did he gain? I don't think he gained a whole lot, to be honest with you. So Styles wins the Royal Rumble. Doesn't really gain any popularity whatsoever. So I think, again, there comes a point where that kind of is capped too as someone who's 44 years old. Just to not gain a lot out of that. So that is, I don't know, of some significance there. We're not going to go through every one of these guys because, again, like Angel Garza hasn't changed that much, Dawkins and such. Bayley, perhaps an interesting look here. She lost the she lost the Raw Women's title. Yeah, she stays the same. So nothing changed all that much for Bayley. Becky, still one of the most popular. I'm pretty sure she's second behind Reigns, although Cena's in there too, of course. But Becky's kind of staying everywhere. She gets a little bit of a jump here in Hawaii. So Hawaii, all in on the man. They are Big E, 84. My goodness. I think that's probably, okay, so it stayed the same. I couldn't remember. It's been so long since we've done one of these. Cesaro, 75s. I'm pretty sure that's the exact same for Cesaro. Chad Gable, guys, we're trying to get Gable some popularity here. And it's working, but boy, it's taken a while. We kind of started, though, I guess, in November, maybe December. So it's slowly but surely rising. It just takes a little time. Christian, not a whole lot of note there. Brian, as we said, 84s across the board. Pretty sure that's about where he's been at. Yeah, so even though he wins the championship, he stayed there for a while. Dominic, Dominic's still in the 40s, so you got to keep that in mind with everything we book with Dominic. Edge is still, look, an 87 for Edge. He goes down one, of course, because he loses the championship and did lose some matches leading up to that in tag team action. So, he's fine. Boy, Finn Balor, almost to the 80s here. I've got to say that's a huge jump for him. Yeah, so he's jumped up quite a bit since we brought him in, October? Yeah, that's when the Bullet Club episode, that was October. So, yeah, Finn continues to head in the right direction. He's almost to 80 again. He's moving up to that top star type level. Io Shirai, still out of action. Sorry, guys. I know if you thought she was going to be a surprise for the Rumble, she's still out for a while. So I tried, but she's still got a long way to go in her recovery. So the Raw curse, remember, that's still playing into that. Gargano's still in the 50s. Keep that in mind as we book him. Keith Lee in a 70, another successful entry. Okay, so Keith Lee made a huge jump here into all 70s. So that's good to see. Owens, Owens is doing his thing too, right? He just continues to move up, even though he lost the United States title. But Owens is one of our top stars easily, so that is of significance there. My guy, Montez Ford. You know how much I've kind of been pushing him as one of our rising stars here. And here he goes. For the first time, he gets in some green here, rising on up in terms of popularity. So we did make him as the Iron Man of the Rumble match, went further than anyone. So, nice work for Montez Ford. Naomi, kind of there. She hasn't really wrestled a lot of matches. Penta, 65, 68s here. Of course, he's a new tag team champion, so he's going up in the right direction. Orton, I'm telling you, there's only one person in our save. I think there's two, and we'll get to the other one in a minute, that stayed the same the entire way, and Randy Orton is one of those people. He has not moved a single popularity at all since we started. So a protected man here. Rey Fenix getting a little green, so he's moving up here. Let's see. Rhea Ripley, of course, the winner now, our holder of the Raw Women's title. She sort of stays the same, jumps up a little bit here. Let's get rid of this note here. So she jumped up a little bit. Sasha, the winner of our Women's Rumble. Now, I'm looking at this, and I can tell you 100% that Sasha got a huge boost out of that. I mean, not maybe a huge boost, but she does go up quite a bit. So that's good there. Sasha gets a bump up as the Women's Royal Rumble winner. And let's see, anyone else? I mean, Sheamus. Sheamus is hanging in, is like the, he's just right there. Like, he's not really going anywhere. And he did lose some popularity. I don't think I realized that. I forgot he got up to the 75 range. But Sheamus is still kind of hanging in there as one of our top underrated sort of stars. Toni Storm still in the 40s, but as we said, that's bringing her up from NXT, and that just kind of is where it landed. So, all right, let's go to SmackDown real quick, and then we'll wrap it up here. Aleister Black in the 60s still, because we brought him up from NXT not long ago, but he made a huge jump from January to February, so moving in the right direction. Alexa Bliss, I think she was the one I was thinking of that had stayed the same. That's what I was going to say with Orton, but wow, not so much anymore. She loses that singles match to Dakota Kai on the Royal Rumble, and Alexa takes a huge hit here in popularity. 5 points. I mean, it wouldn't sound like a lot, but again, I thought she was going to be the Randy Orton on the women's side, but no, take a hit there. Asuka. I mean, Asuka is probably doing pretty well. Yeah, so she's kind of going up a little bit. Bianca's, I'm saying the same. Bianca hasn't really wrestled, right, because the Raquel match got canceled. Bray, 79. That's probably gone down a little bit, maybe. No, okay, so that's about the same. He's kind of just like Orton, I guess. Charlotte in the 60s, she still has the In the Funk attribute, so that doesn't help her. Here's an interesting one, Dakota Kai. So 53s here, as we said, she had been in the 40s when we brought her up from NXT, or maybe the 30s. No, she was in the 40s. But she has one of the most significant jumps of anyone from popularity from January to February. Goes up 7 spots here, so singles match win. She was the Iron Woman in the Rumble match, so combine that together, a nice jump for Dakota Kai there. Damian Priest, 74s here. And we've got some fun stuff planned for Damian Priest. But remember, Damian Priest is still our ultimate popularity gainer from the start of the save, all the way from 48 to 74 here. So he's been in good shape there. McIntyre, Drew still doing well, even though he does not win the Rumble, but he still gains some point here. So Drew continues to move in the right direction, one of our top stars. Easily there. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Jimmy Uso. That's an interesting one, right? Because he's been in all these great segments, but kind of staying the same here. Did go up in Hawaii, so that's notable. Cena still there as one of. Actually, I think Becky's surpassed Cena now, so maybe Cena's actually gone down a bit. No, okay, so he actually went up. I didn't realize that. So. Anything else? Let me see, because I know these kind of get repetitive, but again, we're just trying to see if there's any kind of interesting jumps in popularity. I don't think Paige has moved all that much, 57. What about Raquel? That's an interesting one, because we were pushing her pretty heavily into a women's title match. Wow, yeah, so she made the big jump from December to January. I think part of that was the Mae Young Classic, but yeah, so Raquel made the huge jump, but she kind of stayed there, and of course is out with an injury. Roman is Roman. 91. I want to say he's actually gone up. Yeah, so Roman made the most significant, well, just like last month. Like, Roman is now easily our top star. 91, I mean, he's reaching Hogan level here in terms of popularity. So, Sammy is Sammy, right? Like, he's doing just fine. Okay, big jump for Sammy here from January to February. So, nice jump back up for him. Joe, not all that. I think a lot there. Rollins at an 80. I don't remember where Rollins was. Yeah, okay, so Rollins is about the same as he has been. Let's see. Anyone else? I don't really see anyone else, I think. The Miz, maybe. Okay, about 70. But it is worth noting that Walter, as we said, in the 40s. So we bring him up onto SmackDown. But remember, this is kind of a slow burn with some of these guys on NXT based on where they were when we called him up. So he's in the 40s still. So I think that's something we have to keep in mind. Did make a jump just by coming onto the main roster in the Rumble, but yeah, we've got to see how quickly we can get Walter. Or like I said, if you want me to call him Gunther, we can call him that as well. So either Gunther, Walter, I'm fine with either one. You guys decide. Sometimes it's easier to call the most recent name, but sometimes I like the original. So either one works. But there you go. That's kind of the state of WWE. Kind of not the most interesting one, I would say, but we've kind of reached that point, as I said, where we're just in control of the game world here. And there's just not a lot, happening outside of the actual in-ring storyline stuff and on our way to WrestleMania. Like, that's the most significant part of this. So that's where things are at. And so be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And again, we do have new videos coming in the WCW 1998 and AEW 2022 series. I want to reiterate that, because if you remember back, like, the way we usually do it is we'll get to kind of the push to the pay-per-view in one series. Then we'll do the state of after that, and then we'll kind of go right into another series. So that's kind of the plan here. So this is your state of WWE. Now I'll kind of start to put together the shows moving forward as we move towards No Way Out. But before that, we'll probably go ahead and get the AEW and WCW series back up running with some new videos. So I appreciate the patience. I know there's some people who don't watch this series, only watch the AEW or WCW ones. But once we get to a pay-per-view cycle, we try to just lump all this together because that's kind of where everyone has the most momentum, is just around the pay-per-view. So this is the state of WWE. And again, we'll have some new WCW, AEW videos coming up next on the channel. So appreciate you guys as always. I love the great feedback on the Rumble, and again, I hope you continue to enjoy this. We are almost to WrestleMania, not that far away now. Actually, for Raw, keep in mind, Raw, we are officially on the road to WrestleMania. No pay-per-view until that show, so things will really start to pick up here as we go from the Royal Rumble now, moving to No Way Out into WrestleMania. So appreciate you guys as always, and on the next episode of our WWE 2022 save, it will be Raw for February Week 1.